Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 27 and at the time that you are watching this, I will be well and truly in Japan. I felt like this is something that I needed to mention because I have not mentioned it in a very long time on my channel. But yes, I'm going to be in Japan and I'm very excited. Obviously I haven't left for Japan just yet, but while this video has been released, I will have been in Japan for around about a week by now, so I'll be doing a bunch of interesting things. A bunch of really awesome stuff will be happening, and I can't wait to get going. I'm currently in the process of packing. It is now Sunday, the 1st of May, so this will be releasing 1 week from now, so this will have been recorded 1 week ago for you guys, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But I am super excited. However, Japan aside, we've got a ton of things that we need to do on the Hermitcraft server before I go there. Now, the first thing that I've got to do is, of course, I've got to fix up this area over here. Now, if you missed the previous episode of Hermitcraft, then you missed out, because we did a bunch of really awesome redstone bits and a ton of technical bits and bobs. For example, we have got all of these powered rails in place. These are going to have hopper minecarts on them. They're going to be picking up all of our items from our mob spawner. They're then going to be transported across into our item elevators, which is a slightly strange design, as you can see right here. It actually uses slime blocks to fire the items up into the water stream up at the top there. Then they make their way across into those item sorters there. But of course, there's still a handful of things that we really need to do. First off, we need to get our hopper minecarts in place. They're going to be bouncing back and forth like that. But more importantly, we need to fill in our item sorters, because of course, this area up here is looking good. All of the redstone components are in place. I mean, it looks the business, and it looks as if it's working, but unfortunately, there are no items in any of these hoppers right here, which means that this isn't sorting any items, okay? If items were to flow into this, they wouldn't be sorted at all. It wouldn't work in the slightest, so that's definitely something that we're going to have to fix up. So that is the plan for the start of today's episode. There's also a bunch of other things that I'm really excited to get started on, so it should be a jam-packed one, so let's crack on. Want to know something really annoying? I just found this chest. I bought a bunch of logs in the previous episode of Hermitcraft. I spent a bunch of time crafting up all the chests, and I've got loads of them. Ah, that's frustrating, isn't it? That really is annoying. Okay, so first things first, we need to craft up all of our hopper minecarts, and that is now done. We filled in the powered rails going across the hoppers right there, so that's now done as well. Now we just need to chuck these little fellas down, and they should just travel back and forth endlessly. Now, there is something that I'm a tiny bit worried about. There's a chance that these will despawn or stop moving when the chunks unload. I don't know if that's going to happen, okay? I don't know if that's going to happen. I probably should have tested that, to be honest with you. But I know that the disappearing entities bug is definitely a real problem. I can't remember if it's been fixed in Minecraft 1.9 though. So what I'm going to have to do now is I'm actually going to have to unload these chunks and see if anything fishy happens. If one of them disappears, then we've got ourselves a problem. If one of them stops, we've definitely got ourselves a problem. So, fingers crossed, this all goes smoothly. Because if it doesn't, I will cry just a tad. So I popped over to the White District. I'm now going to unload those chunks for 30 seconds because I believe that makes them fully unloaded. And then we're going to pop back on through, see what the results are. So here goes. My heart is actually in my mouth right now. Hadn't expected to be so nervous about this because I guess I just didn't think. I didn't think of this sort of thing, so... Oh, you guys have no idea how much I panicked when we first came through that portal and there were none of them there. I was like, maybe there'll be one missing if all of them were gone. Oh, okay, so it looks like it's working. I'll have to do a handful more tests. Of course I'll have to do a handful more tests. But that's a promising thing, that was a promising sign there. Good, okay, excellent. Right, well, I guess all I have to do now is I've got to fill in these slabs right here and fill in the other slabs as well. And that is our entire killing platform all completed. We just chuck in that slab there. I can't actually make my way back through, but that is everything done. Sweet, okay, so now we just have to fill in the sorting system, and then this thing will be up and running. Okay, so first up, we've got gunpowder, then we're going to have the bones next to it. We're basically doing it in order of importance. So we've got arrows next to the bones, and then I'd say string is probably more important than zombie flesh, which is going to be going at the end. Then after that, it's just witch drops, which means we don't actually have to use these sorters. So we're just going to leave it like that, because of course then it sort of looks neat and tidy-ish, I guess. But anyway, that is the item sorter done. I've already done the other side. So yeah, this is now operational. I guess we just have to turn on the mob farm and hope that nothing breaks. I mean, really, I am hoping that nothing breaks right here. Okay, there are a number of problems with my mob farm. First off, when the mobs were falling, they were actually stopping the minecart. So what I had to do was I had to cover the entire killing platform with slabs. That has now been done. That thing is now fixed. But we have got a much bigger problem, and I have no idea how I'm going to solve this one. Okay, basically, as you can see right here, items don't seem to travel over hoppers anymore. If we just throw this, it actually gets caught on the edge of the hopper. It's like the hopper has a new hitbox. And by the look of things, yeah, items just, they don't do it. I mean, this one's fine, okay? The items are obviously flowing fine into this first hopper, but as you can see, if we actually let this happen, none of the items actually make it round the first corner. They just stop there. So, I have no idea how I'm going to deal with this one. Genuinely have no idea how I'm going to deal with it. Yeah, I'm going to have to take a moment to think about this one and try and suss this one out in my brain, because this is a bit of a complex situation here. Okay, so here's hoping this little strategy here works. So we've got our water there, that will then push the items around like that. Then our water right here, which is going to push our items off to this area here. But when the items come around the corner, they're going to hit this chest, which means they're going to just about be over this block here, which means they should be able to go through into the hoppers. Let's take a look. That's good. That's very promising. I'm now picking up all the items, which isn't particularly brilliant. But okay, we got some string. Yes! I fixed it! This actually works! I actually created something that works. Wow! I'm more amazed than you are, to be quite frankly honest with you. Awesome. Okay, so this is now functional. Are my minecarts functional? Oh, it looks like they're in the middle. Okay, so that's no big deal. Sweet. This thing's working. Excellent. Okay, now I've just got to do the same thing on the other side. Then we'll have a fully functional mob sorting item farm. Pretty sweet. And this one is now finished as... Ooh. That would have been bad. I would have been quite upset about that, because of course all of the water would have flown onto my redstone, and that wouldn't have been good. Okay, so this one is now finished as well. We've got our water stream in place, everything is in place, mob farm is working, the killing platform is working, the item sorters are working. I think we are now ready for a little AFK session. So I'm going to go off to the shop. I'm going to pick up myself some ingredients to make a Philly steak sandwich, because I've just discovered these things and they are the greatest thing on the planet. So what I'm going to do is pop up to my AFKing platform and probably go AFK for around about an hour and see how many item drops we can manage to get in that time. Philly steak sandwich making supplies have been acquired. It has been around about 20 minutes because I live very close to the local shop. So now it is time to check how many drops I've got. Now I'm going to be going down a slightly different way today, because as you can see, I've got my elytra equipped, so this seems like the sensible way to travel down to the base area. And as you can see, we have got a lot of mobs falling from this place. Right, okay, let's just sort of pull up here. Oh, I don't know where I'm going to land. Maybe here. Okay, there we go. We managed to make it. Alright, let's take a look, and... we got some stone slabs, but also, by the look of things, quite a few item drops. That's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. For 20 minutes, that's pretty insane. If we take a look in the other chest, we'll see how many items we have in there. I'm really impressed. Oh. Why is that? Why does this side not have any item drops whatsoever? So it turns out I have been an idiot. You see this dropper right here? This is actually filled up with items because I didn't finish building the little redstone clock thing. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to hop swap some blocks, just like that. And then I guess cause this a bit of an update or something. There we go. Items should now be flowing out, and they are now making their way into the item elevator. Oh, okay, whew. I got a little bit worried then that I'd actually done something seriously wrong. Turns out it was just an honest mistake. Right, now I guess we can see how many items we actually have in this thing. Now I have to say, this is a very satisfying thing to watch. It looks hilarious. Just the items blasting out, they're going into the water. Oh, it's fantastic. I'm so happy I chose to use these sorts of item elevators, just because they're a little bit different. I've never really used slime blocks to elevate items before, and they actually seem to work really well and really reliably. I haven't had any issues yet, so we'll have to wait and see what happens in the future. But anyway, as you can see, there are hundreds of items pouring through. All of my item filters are filling up, so hopefully the chests below are also filling up, and we're getting loads and loads of items. Ah! Oh, I managed to fall off the edge, and I made a very weird noise while falling there. Oh, that's so frustrating. Well, I guess, I should go to sleep and then sort myself out. But that is a pain in the backside, that is. Damn. So now that I've got all my items back, I think it's about time that we start work on the next project for today's episode, and it is to do with this thing. We're going to be getting this thing, and we're going to be setting fire to it, blowing it up, and just completely destroying things. We're not actually going to do any of those things before you get too excited. We're just going to get rid of it because it's horrible. What on earth was I thinking? It's probably my least favourite thing I've ever built on the Hermitcraft. I seriously think this thing is disgusting. So it needs to go. It has to go. I'm embarrassed to have it by my base. So let's crack on with that one. That horrible, disgusting build is now gone. I have never been so happy to destroy one of my own builds before. Generally speaking, when I destroy my own stuff, I'm like, that's a bit of a shame. I quite like that being there. But no, not this time. That thing was absolutely horrible. So I'm so glad that that's all disappeared. But now we're going to be cracking on with the next project for today's episode, which is going to involve the cone. Now, we're not going to be working on the outside of the cone. You guys know that's completely finished, and it's looking brilliant, if I do say so myself. Instead, we are going to be working on the inside. What I want to do is create like a little nature reserve, I guess you could say, on the inside of the cone that I think will look really, really cool. I personally am very excited about this one. So first off, I'm gathering up a few resources. We're going to need a ton of torches because it's very dark in there, but also a few stone slabs, a few stone bricks, and also a lot, and I mean a lot of dirt, because we've got a bunch of terraforming. Turns out, after our recent massive terraforming operation, I don't actually have any dirt, so we're going to have to actually go out dirt mining. Which I know is a very strange term, generally speaking. I don't have to go out and do this. Generally, I have quite a large supply of dirt already. But by the look of things, we are running low, and I cannot find anywhere to dirt mine. Would this be a good place? Would this be good? No? Man, where am I meant to get dirt from? I just don't know. There it is. I've found the thick dirt. Sweet. This should be easy. There's even some grass down. What the? How was that grass spreading so quickly? Why did that not happen when I didn't have silk touch that time? Oh, that was very, very bizarre. Anyway, I'm going to keep swinging my shovel all over the shop, and we should have plenty of the brown stuff in no time. This looks like enough to me. Let's do this. Now, I do believe job number 1 has been completed. Everything is pretty well lit up. We have got torches pretty much everywhere that you can see. There are no real dark spots, I don't think. Or at least not down on the ground. While I was doing this, I actually got blown up by I think 4, maybe even 5 creepers. You can see there's a few creeper holes over here. So hopefully I've fixed that problem, and hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. But now onto the more important project, which is the terraforming of the inside of the cone. What I want to do is create a big flat area in line with these stone slabs. So we're going to be filling in this entire area here with dirt, which obviously is quite a big project, come to think about it, because of course this is a 55 blocks in diameter circle, which means that the area is big. I mean, I can't do the maths in my head. I think area is pi r squared, I do believe, so that would be pi times 27.5 squared. If anyone wants to do that, let me know what the answer is down in the comment section. All I know is that's quite a bit of dirt to fill. Now the first quarter is almost completely completed. I just need to chuck in a few more blocks of dirt, and I have no idea how I'm going to place those. I mean, really. How am I meant to place them? Yeah, there we go. And I guess we have to pull the same sort of crazy angle on that one as well. Cool, there we go. So that is all of the dirt placed in for this 1/4 of the circle, pretty much, anyway, if we just fill in these gaps as well. Okay, so that's 1/4 done. Now we have got the other 3/4 to go. And I've sort of used quite a lot of dirt. I'm actually going to work out how big this is. 2,375.829 blocks of dirt. That's more than I thought. That's more than I thought. How many stacks is that? That's like 40 stacks of dirt. Dude, we're going to be flying through dirt. I'm going to have to go out dirt farming again. That's not on. Bit of a progress update for you guys. I've now got half of the circle in place. It is looking okay, I guess. I mean, it's not looking too brilliant. It's just a big old flat plane of dirt. But as you can see, the grass is gradually beginning to spread, sort of. I mean, we have a little bit of grass going on here. So hopefully by the end of today's episode, at least a decent quantity of this will be covered, maybe? I don't know. I can't remember how fast grass spreads. But in terms of my dirt reserves, as you can see, we're not doing too well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a bit stacks left, which, quite frankly, isn't going to be enough to do the rest of this one. So we are definitely going to have to do some dirt farming, but positive vibes at the minute. Everything is going well, so I'm going to keep working. Almost there, almost there. We are now getting there. As you can see, pretty much the entire thing is now all filled in. I've just got the final last couple blocks to do. See, this has taken up a lot of dirt, a lot more dirt than I ever imagined. But let's just cover this area. And it's really difficult to place the dirt in like the small little spaces here, but we need to do these little small spaces as well. So this one, and then that one. Are we done? I think we're done. We have now got a gigantic flat area underneath the cone. And let's just take a moment actually to appreciate how insane the cone looks from the inside. Now, one thing that I probably will do at some point in the near future is I'm going to get to work and actually take out all of the scaffolding blocks that we have in here, because obviously they're not the best looking things in the world. They're not ugly, they're not horrendous, and they add like a nice bit of detail, but I think if this was all blue going right the way up to the top, it would look insane. So that's sort of what I'm hoping for here. But this is good. This is definitely a good place in which we can start building things, and a good area in which we can start a few projects. We're not going to be starting those projects today. I've actually got something else planned, so let's crack on with that one. So the end of today's episode is all to do with the Elytra, and first things first, blimey, Mr. Impulse SV has been very busy indeed, and by the look of things, he's got himself about 1 million mending books, which, you know, I'm probably going to end up buying quite a few of these, you know? Oh, what? Yeah, no, that makes sense. Cool, okay, so our Elytra now have mending. Now all we have to do is fix these little fellas up, and then I guess we could do some enchanting on them. I suppose we don't really need any more enchantments. Can you get Unbreaking 3 on these things? I feel like you might be able to get Unbreaking 3. I don't really know. Almost there, we've almost got a completely fresh set of Elytra now, so let's just do this, and then collect the XP. That's basically how you have to do it. Let's do it again with the spiders, I guess. Or maybe the skeletons is probably a better way of doing things. It's quite difficult because you sort of have to hot swap, but oh, that was so close, that was so close. And good. Okay, so we now have a completely fresh set of mending Elytra. These are now on me, and you know what? Because we have 5 levels, what I might do is I might locate an anvil and rename them to chicken wings, because apparently according to the guys, when I was fighting the Ender Dragon, I explode with chicken whenever I die, and I now have wings, so I guess chicken wings is a pretty apt name for me. But anyway, we're now going to pop back through onto the Mumbo Jump drone, and we are going to AFK at the top there to gather up some drops. So here we are at the top of the world. Now, I'm going to try my best to stay here overnight and basically get as many mob drops as I possibly can. That's the plan anyway. Hopefully it goes well, so I will catch you in around about 24 hours. See you then. So guys, I have got some slightly bad news for you all. I have been a complete and utter spoon. For those of you who don't know, I've just moved into my house, and I currently don't have an Ethernet cable long enough to run it from downstairs all the way up to my computer, which means that I've been using my phone as a tethered hotspot. Now, when I left my house last night, because of course I don't sleep in this place, I turned off all my screens. I was like, right, turn off the screens, and I'm going to leave this thing AFKing overnight. And as I left, I was like, oh, my phone, I need my phone. Disconnected it from the computer, and of course, that's disconnected me from the internet. So unfortunately, my night of AFKing was actually spent looking at the disconnected from server screen. That's essentially what happened. So I've just spent a bunch of electricity basically leaving my computer on without having any good uses for it. But as you can see, there are a decent number of drops up here. And my minecarts are gone. All of my minecarts have disappeared. And that redstone clock stopped working. What on earth? What on earth am I meant to do? I mean, this thing's being ridiculously efficient. There's no doubt about that. But it's not working, is it? Where have all the minecarts gone? This is genuinely really bad news, this. Look how many items there are. And they're just not being picked up by the minecart. Oh, that is so frustrating. Okay, it looks like we are actually going to have to set up a new system once again down here. We're going to have to get a new way of doing things. Because clearly, both my redstone clocks and these minecarts, they just don't work. That's infuriating. That is seriously infuriating. I'm going to speak to Tango about potentially taking a loan of iron, or even just saying, look, okay, all my minecarts have disappeared. I built this system using iron. Is it okay if I gather up some free iron? Because this isn't good. This is really not good. How annoying. How annoying is that? So guys, this is a 6x30 area, meaning that this is 180 hoppers in total. Now, Tango charges 1 diamond for 8 hoppers, which means that we're going to need, obviously, 180 hoppers, which, if I try my best to do this maths in my head, which I probably should have done beforehand, that's 10 diamonds for 80, which means it's 20 diamonds for 160, which means that, I suppose you might as well get 200. It's 25 diamonds. Or 23 diamonds. I mean, that's a lot. That's quite a few diamonds. But I suppose that's only like one mining session. We might as well do it. So yes, we are actually going to pay for the diamonds. We're not going to get a loan or any handouts or anything like that. This is going to cost 23 diamonds, but then we will have all of the hoppers of this thing, and all of the items will flow their way down into the item elevators that hopefully I can get up and running. Okay, so that's 1 stack of hoppers there. Then this is 2 stacks of hoppers, and that is 3 stacks of hoppers. I do believe, yes, that's 15. So that means that we're going to need to chuck in 15 diamonds here. Good stuff. Okay, so that's 3 stacks of hoppers. We've managed to make a bit of a saving there because actually Mr. Tango Tech is running low on hoppers. That's definitely not enough for us. So now let's pop back, pick up some wood, and we'll be able to craft these little fellas. Now, because I'm trying my best to actually save on diamonds, I didn't use the log fellas this time. I actually went out and gathered up all of the logs. So we got 6 stacks of logs. We turned all of those into chests. And now let's quickly chuck these iron bars into our crafting table to make the hoppers. And I do believe this is probably going to be some of the most hoppers I think I've ever had in Minecraft, to be honest. So that's 2 stacks. And then this one here is going to be our 3rd stack. And we'll chuck in our chest as well. There we go. Okay, so we've got 3 stacks of hoppers. This should just about be enough to do the entire platform. We should have, I think, 12 left, if I do my maths correctly. So let's go. So step number 1 is to dismantle all of this episode's hard work. Yes, we're gonna have to get rid of all of this, get rid of all of the slabs, all of the powered rails, everything. They're all gonna have to go, and they are all going to be replaced with hoppers. So project number 1 is almost completed. I've taken out all of the powered rails, I've taken out all of the slabs as well. Now all I have to do is remove the redstone blocks and replace them with our birchwood slabs. And that is everything pretty much done and dusted. One thing that I have to be super careful of here is mobs with feather falling. There seems to have been like a handful of them, and occasionally they catch me by surprise, and occasionally, especially when they're baby zombies, they almost get the better of me. But anyway, let's take out these blocks here, and now what we have to do is chuck in our hoppers, right on top of these little fellas and run them into the sides of them. So this shouldn't be a particularly hard project. Oh, there's another one. These things are so difficult to kill. Well, he says killing it easily because I'm a professional, but yeah, they're really difficult to kill. But anyway, it should be a pretty easy project to do. Just chucking in all of these and another one. Seriously? I think I need to get myself some iron golems, but unfortunately can't really afford those at the minute. And that is everything in. All of the hoppers are here. These are all going to be picking up the items. Now I'm just going to chuck some slabs down the middle to make sure that nothing spawns on the spawning platform, because that wouldn't be particularly good. So let's just chuck in all these little fellas, and that will be pretty much everything all completed, apart from these little end ones here, because of course, you know, there's always something wrong. Whenever I do my builds, there's always something slightly wrong. And I can see a zombie over there, and I have no idea where he has come from. Where did you come from? Get off my circles. Get out of here. Right, okay. It doesn't look quite as cool as the minecarts. I really like the minecarts going back and forth, but sadly, of course, they disappeared. Sadly, I just ran out of memory. So you missed the part where I fixed up the clock and basically spoke a bunch about how I didn't really understand why it wasn't working. I can promise you it probably wasn't the most interesting in the world. But now this thing is up and running, what I will do though is I will replace the dirt that I have on this thing with some slightly more attractive blocks, because this was quite simply to stop any feather falling mobs from getting in here and just being launched by the slime blocks, as that seems to happen quite often. So maybe I'll use some sandstone, just a little bit like that. That should fix our little problem. Yep, that's much better than dirt. And then these ones as well, so just sandstone in like that. And a sandstone block right there. Cool, okay, so this area is now all done and dusted. This should definitely work. If this doesn't work, I'm going to be very, very concerned about everything in Minecraft, because these are hoppers. They should be reliable, but we'll have to wait and see. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Hermitcraft. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later.